a few minutes and talk about functions again and how information gets in and out of functions. I know this has been covered a couple different times, maybe even in one of your lab points, but let's go ahead and define a function and we'll call it fun time. We'll go ahead and use those parentheses and the colon. So that's the definition for a function. And I can go ahead and call it whenever I want. So we can go ahead and say fun time. And we'll go ahead inside of here, we're going to do print having a fun time. There we go. And go ahead and run this. And you'll see having a fun time. Now, what's happening is I'm going to line 1, 2, 3, and Python's going, okay, I have a method or function being declared here, but I'm not going to do anything with it yet. It's only when I get to line 7 do I go back up here and say have fun time. So we're going to go ahead and prove that. We're going to do a print here, and we're going to say before a fun time, and we'll go ahead and run that. So notice, even though we got to line 4 before we got to line 7, it actually prints before a fun time and then goes back up. So again, Python saw this method, didn't do anything with it, and then came down here and ran this line, found line 8, says call fun time, it goes back up here and then prints out fun time. Let's go ahead and declare a variable here, and we'll go ahead and say age 45, and then I'm going to try to print out you are, and we'll go ahead and say age down here. Actually, we're going to have to cast that to a string since that's going to be an integer coming in. Let's see what happens when we run that. Looks like we got an error on line 12. What did we do? Oh, forgot I have an opening, but only one closing, so I've got to close that other parenthesis. Go ahead and run it. So age is not defined on line 10. So even though I declare age up here on line 45, I don't necessarily have access to it. Actually, I don't have access to it even on line 10. If we followed the logic, we went down here, we saw our method, we came here, ran print time, then went up to fun time. So we actually declared age 45 here. Actually, let's go ahead and print out age equals, and we'll go ahead and do age inside of there. Oh, we can't convert. We got to do our string conversion inside there. So, forgot to do my closing parenthesis again. Having a tough time with those parentheses today. So notice it print out age 45 on this line, but it still didn't know what age was down here. And that's because what happens in this function has no bearing on what happens outside. In fact, anything that's outside the function has no idea what happened inside the function. If I want to get access to age 45 outside of it, I have to actually use the keyword saying return age. At that point, it'll take information that's inside this function and return it outside of it. So when I run fun time here, it's going to print out have a fun time. It's going to assign 45 to age. It's going to print out the age, and then that 45 is going to be brought back out of here. So I'm going to have to redeclare another variable called age at that point. And now, instead of printing out age from inside the function, I have to use the value that came out of the function from the return. So when I get done with fun time, it's going to return age, which is 45. And this is going to be 45. So Bob is going to equal 45. And you can now say you are 45. Go ahead and run that. And there we go. Before a fun time, having a fun time, age 45 from inside the function, you are 45 from outside the function, because that value was returned outside of it. Now, if I wanted to get information into the function, I could pass in here, we could say 15, and we can go ahead and say years up here, and then we can do years plus 45. Go ahead and run that. And now I'm 60 years old. So I'm going to send 15 into the method up into here to years, which this equals now 15. So 15 plus 45 is 60. 60 goes into there. Age equals 60. 60 gets returned. So I can send information into the method and I can send information out of the method. So I send information in by putting it inside the parentheses as a parameter, and I catch it up when I do my method declaration, and I do return to get information outside of my methods. So hopefully that clarifies a little bit more about how methods work in Python.